Kylo Ren.
The Force of Others, a Star Wars podcast. Hello there, and welcome to The Force of Others. I'm Zachary Owen Turner.
I'm Matt Boitner, and today on The Force of Others, we're going to talk about so many things. So many things, we're going to try to make it all fit. We got new George Lucas quotes on Star Wars. Adam Driver pitched a Ben Solo movie, and Disney said no. Jeremy Allen White is confirmed to be Rotta the Hutt in The Mandalorian and Grogu, and we've got quotes from him about it. Star Wars author Cavan Scott gave us a shout-out. We got new canon stories of Rey's Jedi training. We're going to rank our top 5 Vision shorts from Volumes 1 and 2, because Volume 3 comes out in 2 weeks. But before we get to all of that, as always, we got to answer a question from one of our listeners. Friend of the podcast, Rocky Westbrook, says, Zach, who would you want as your master or apprentice if you were a Sith?
Yeah, so I was thinking about it, and my initial reaction was like, oh, I want Saruman. I want Count Dooku.
Oh,
I want the great Christopher Lee. Of course, he would be such a great teacher. But then I got thinking about it, and I was like, he's real hard on Asajj, and he's real evil. And so I think what I would actually want would be the Stranger, because he's really nice, but a really, really good sword fighter. So probably a mixture of the two. That would be my 2 answers for master, I think. I don't know who I'd want my apprentice to be, but I instantly was like, yeah, either Dooku or the Stranger for my master. What about you?
Right on. I debated going someone from like Old Republic to get into really wild, crazy force powers, but I decided instead to go Darth Plagueis as my master, because I wanted someone that was going to teach me all of the Sithy things and be a really good manipulator, but also, just like Palpatine, if I just get him drunk, then I can kill him and take over. So that was my plan, because you want a Sith that you can kill and then become the master. And then for my apprentice, and it's very boring prequel answers that I'm giving, I went Darth Maul, because he'd be an excellent weapon, a great tool to use, and then if you outsmart him, basically everybody has beaten him once. Ahsoka beat him, Obi-Wan beat him twice, technically 3 times. Who else beat him? A lot of people. So I went Darth Maul. And so yeah, trained by Plagueis and trained Maul. Yeah, Kanan kind of like escapes him, yeah. But that counts. So yeah, if you just get him off his groove, then you win. But if you have a question, dear listener or watcher, send it to forceofothersradio@gmail.com or put it in the comments below, and we will eventually answer it. But Zach, as it has been 3 weeks since we've actually gotten to talk to each other, how have your 3 weeks been, and how have your Star Wars 3 weeks been?
Great. Been great weeks. Went to New Mexico to see my 92-year-old grandmother, who is doing awesome. She lives in a 5-bedroom house and drives a Mercedes.
Cool.
Yeah, she's cool. But we went also for the International Balloon Fiesta, so went with my whole family, got to go see that, and it was the final International Balloon Fiesta for the Darth Vader balloon after 20 years of flight. I will link it below, but they actually, if you would like to see the Darth Vader balloon continue to exist, they are raising funds to rebuild the Darth Vader balloon, because it's wearing away to where it can't fly. And if you would like to, I think the cheapest one to get a prize is £50 or €50. But you can own a piece of the current Darth Vader balloon. Saw that this morning. Cool. So you could get a pin, a piece of the balloon, and a certificate, and some other stuff. And if you're one of the top 3 contributors, you can fly on the new one for free. Well, not for free, but you paid for it. But that was really cool. They did a glow, and it was really fun going back. I lived in Albuquerque until I was 8 years old, and so it was really kind of fun to be there as somebody in their 30s driving and being like, oh, I know where to go, because I remembered these roads as a child, because we would drive all the time, and I'd be like, oh no, and then I turn right here, and then I turn left here, because that's how my brain works. I go, oh, directions, how do I get there? Just in case, you never know. But it was really great. And then we got delayed on the flight, which was fun. That's partially why we didn't have an episode last week. That and Matt was in tech for his great show, which he'll tell you all about. Frankenstein. But we had a layover in Houston, so I got to see some family there as well. Got to see my 86-year-old Grammy. So I saw all my old folks. Got some great time with my family. Got to spend time with my mom, my brother, my dad. It was great. So that was really fun. As far as how Star Wars found me, it was basically just the. I mean, it was a bunch of stuff. I got to actually watch the Jeremy Allen White interview live because my family watches the Good Morning America show, and I walked down like all sleepily, ready to eat some eggs and bacon, and there was Jeremy Allen White. I was like, hey, this is big news. Great.
Nice.
But yeah. And what about you, Matt? How have you been for 3 weeks?
Man, so I also was traveling. The week before Zach was traveling, I went. I passed him basically in my travels because I went to upstate New York for the first time in my life. It was beautiful. I was up there to get my little sister married. Her name's not Mary. Her name's Maggie, but she was married while we were up there. It was really fun. Maggie got married. Maggie got married to Tim. Wonderful people, wonderful times. It was just a really, really nice weekend. It was a whirlwind trip because we flew out Sunday. The wedding was Monday, and we flew back Tuesday, and then I went into rehearsals for Young Frankenstein, which opened Friday, and that was crazy. For a friend of the podcast, Brian Lawson, is the monster that I make in this show. I am Dr. Frederick Frankenstein, and Brian is Frankenstein's monster. It's funny so for those of you that aren't theater people, Tech Week is the week where like you've learned the dancing, you've learned your lines, you hope, you've learned all your music, you've learned where you're supposed to move, your blocking as we call it. Tech Week is then when you add all the technical stuff, the sound, the lights, everything else, the set pieces, and basically all your hard work gets put in a blender and blown all over the wall, and then you figure out what you can actually do in the show, right? Mm-hmm. No offense to any tech people, y'all work so actors can play. But it was very chaotic. Young Frankenstein is a huge show. So Tech Week, you're there till probably midnight, if not later, basically every night of the week. And then you have a 4-show weekend on top of all of that, right? Yeah. And after the second show on Saturday, because we always do 2-show Saturdays, I looked at Brian and Brian looked at me and we both kind of went, we're getting too old for this, man. Like, gosh. But it's a great show. If you're in the North Texas area, come see... I guess, yeah, commute 3 hours and come see Young Frankenstein at the Granbury Opera House. But it is a legitimately good show. Friend of the podcast, Rocky Westbrook, I forgot to mention, is actually backstage.
Oh, cool.
Moving set pieces and stuff. So it's a family affair. Force Feathers family affair. Also want to mention one of Zach and my friends from college, Nathan Goodrich, jump scared me with his presence. It was the second show on Saturday, and I'm literally setting my phone down to go to places, and my phone goes off, and I look at it, and it's a picture from Nathan Goodrich, one of our college buddies, of the playbill and of the stage. He goes, Rachel, his wife, and him were really, really excited to see the show, and I was like, what? And we realized I haven't seen them in 8 years, so that was really, really cool. And yeah, it was just great to see them. It gave me energy for the 2-show day. But as for how Star Wars found me, it's found me in this show. Ooh. I say the line, hello there, in this musical. And I say it to Brian. I didn't want to do a Ben Kenobi. The director made me. He was like, do it. It's funny. You're a Star Wars guy, and it's your podcast. So shout out Jonah Hart. No one has believed me that it wasn't my idea. I'm just doing what the director said. But then at one point, spoilers, I die in the show. I come back. But Dr. Frankenstein dies for a moment. And Brian, who can talk now, I'm spoiling the crap out of this musical, but the movie's 50 years old and the musical's 20 years old, so whatever. Come see it for the jokes. Brian is trying to bring me back to life, and it's not working, and he added the line, no, he was alive, I felt it. No. So we've gotten 2 Star Wars jokes. First time I see him, I say, hello there. And then he quotes some Anakin Skywalker. But for the other way Star Wars found me, lest we forget, October 19th, 2015 was the day that the final Force Awakens trailer dropped. And one of my favorite things about that trailer is that's the one where we saw Han Solo saying, it's true.
Chewie.
Oh,
Oh,
no. That was the
first
teaser.
one. That's right.
But the trailer it's true, all of it. The dark side, the Jedi, all of it. And he's standing in the same place that he was in A New Hope when he's like, yeah, a bunch of mumbo jumbo and all that type of stuff. Right, that's the line from Force Awakens. But hokey religions and ancient weapons, no match for a good blaster. No match for a good blaster at your side.
Yeah.
Just getting to see that come full circle in that trailer is still one of my favorite things. And one of my favorite things about The Force Awakens. But my favorite thing about that trailer is the reaction that John Boyega had to it. And I probably put that clip in the intro of just getting to see yourself wielding a lightsaber against someone with a red lightsaber on screen. Don't ever let anybody tell you that people weren't hyped for Force Awakens in 2015.
No.
Don't let anybody tell you they're wrong.
Also, they did him so dirty with that series. He should.
Yeah.
Just gotta say it.
Yeah. And now that it's been said, we'll keep it positive, but just, yes, it's worth being brought up. Justice for Finn. But Star Wars found me yesterday in a way other than the Adam Driver story that we'll talk about. But Rebel ScumCon Volume 3 has been announced. Woo! August 7th through 9th, 2026 at the Frisco Conference Center. Same place as last year. They went live last night with...
Which I'm actually surprised because I thought they would have grown enough because I guess
they talked about
grow,
they've got plans for space wise and how to accommodate more people, but they're expecting even more guests or even more attendees than last year. They're going to do some ticketing things differently. You can check it out on their Instagram page, Rebel ScumCon Official. They went live and they've got the whole video up there. But they went live with Dante and Bobby, who we have had on the show, and Kentucky, who's one of the other main people behind the show, and we have not had, but I would like to. And also with Will of the Force and Mortis FM, a.k.a. Grayson. They were all there doing the thing, and they announced the first two guests for Rebel ScumCon Volume 3. Paul Sun-Hung Lee, a.k.a. Carson Teva, is going to be at Rebel ScumCon 3. They talked about how they've been trying to get him for the past 3 years, and it hasn't worked yet. And then also, we had Sam Witwer last year. We're going to have Ray Park at Rebel ScumCon this year, and I am very, very excited, and I will apologize to him for how my father and I snuck into the Ray Park panel at Star Wars Celebration in 1999, and he'll be like, what are you talking about? Who cares? And I'll be like, well, still, I feel bad, and I have to apologize to someone. But the last way that Star Wars found me is a way that Star Wars found us, found our podcast. A couple weeks ago, Star Wars author Cavan Scott posted on his Instagram that he was going to do a Q&A, and he was going to put the answers in his newsletter. And I was like, ooh. And so I asked him a question that we'll get to in a minute. And then I instantly subscribed to his newsletter that I didn't know existed and have been watching it just like a fiend, not seeing answers to our question. He decided to do something different and way better, way more fun, I thought, because he answered it in an Instagram reel. Tagged us on Instagram. You can find it on our page and his page, at Cavan Scott Author. But to give you some context for who Cavan Scott is, in case you don't know, outside of his Star Wars work, he's a very, very, very prolific genre writer. He has written for Doctor Who, Star Trek, Transformers, Back to the Future, Judge Dredd, Pacific Rim, Sherlock Holmes. Did I miss anything? And then a lot of just original stuff as well. But as for his Star Wars work, he was one of the main writers and architects of the High Republic publishing initiative in novels and in comics. He wrote the Dooku Jedi Lost audio drama. He's done a bunch of just other Star Wars comics. And every time they come out, or pretty much every time they've come out with a Halloween one-shot or Halloween special, Cavan Scott wrote it. So he's that guy. And he's got a Halloween special that's coming out now, Tales from the Nightlands. It is a 3-issue special that spans the different eras of Star Wars canon. Issue 1 is young Anakin dealing with the villain. Issue 2 is Luke and Leia dealing with the same villain. And issue 3 is Finn, Rey, and Chewie, and I think some other characters dealing with this villain, the Nightlander. And that ties into my question, and let's go ahead and throw it over to Cavan Scott.
Hello there. A while ago, I asked for your questions about Tales from the Nightlands, my latest Halloween Star Wars miniseries. Put out an AMA call, said I'd answer them in my newsletter, and I blatantly haven't yet, and I apologise for that. So I thought one of the easiest ways I could get through all your questions, and thank you for sending them in, is to answer them on video and put them out as reels and what have you. So here we go. First things first, though, I do apologise. I have been suffering from the cold from hell, or maybe from the Nightlands for the last week. So if I'm a bit sniffly or snotty, I apologise. But let's get to the first question. Okay, this first question comes from Force of Others podcast, and they ask, outside of the Bogeyman, is there anything else that inspired the Nightlander? It's a good question, and actually that was the main inspiration. I wanted to create a new character that could be used in Star Wars as a returning bogeyman. I was fascinated by the idea of a character returning to each of the 3 generations of heroes that we see in the films. So yeah, to create a bogeyman, a villain who isn't a Sith or anything like that, was the first and probably most important inspiration. There was something else. It was always going to be a Twi'lek for one good reason. I made a mistake. I made a mistake in the original Tempest Runner audio drama for the High Republic starring Lorna D. In that drama, I had her say something like, damn him to the Nightlands. And I was thinking of the Nightlands in the original Legends expanded universe of Star Wars, where the home planet of the Twi'leks was tidal locked, meaning that there was one side of the planet that was constantly in daylight and one side of the planet that was constantly in darkness. And so that's what originally Lorna was saying, cast them, damn them to the Nightlands. But then, of course, I'd forgotten that in modern canon in Star Wars, the planet isn't tidally locked at all. So it spins and there are days and nights. But I really like the name Nightlands. And so in a lot of these times you do try and find a solution to your mistake. And my mistake was saying that. And my solution was to think of, well, what does Lorna's culture think about the afterlife? Do they have a realm of the dead? And that's what I realized could be the Nightlands. And from that, we have the Nightlander, who is the queen of the dead in their culture, in their religion. And maybe she wants to put herself into our world, into the Brightlands, where the living live. So yes, that was the original spark of inspiration for the Nightlands and the Nightlander. It all came from making a mistake.
Such a cool answer.
Yeah.
I loved that. I freaked out when I heard that. It's about, what I get out of that is, necessity creates invention. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I might be saying that phrase wrong. But go ahead. What's your take?
That and ideas never die,
Yeah.
Writers talk all the time, especially behind the scenes. They're like, oh yeah, we had this idea for a movie and it didn't pan through, but then I used these 5 ideas here and put them here because, it's never gone. So, but I love that. I love a bogeyman.
A bogeyman. Yeah. Fantastic accent, also, by the way, Cavan. Awesome.
Cavan needs to read audio dramas because he has that deep, beautiful radio voice. So
yeah, I'm saying that would be awesome. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Cavan Scott, for giving us a shout out. That was really fun. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have not. Tales of the Nightlands issue 1 is out now. I have not read it yet, but as longtime listeners know, we're behind on all comics right now. So eventually, we're gonna have a big Canon Comics catch up. I think I've got 6 issues of everything to read. Same. But tying into what we're going to talk about later, I watched all of Visions Volume 1 and 2 in the last 2 weeks. So there's lots of Star Wars content that's coming into my face. But as for the next story, less fun, a little bit of a downer, but what a legacy to leave. I'm going to hand it over to Zach.
Yeah, we had a passing in the Star Wars universe, which was Drew Struzan. Sorry. If you don't know who he is, you do. You know his art. You just don't realize it. He painted almost every Star Wars or film poster that you probably love growing up. Struzan's career is in commercial illustration started in the 1970s with album covers, including covers for the records by the Bee Gees, Black Sabbath, and Alice Cooper. He broke into film posters with the 1978 re-release of Star Wars and went on to paint more than 150 film posters, which include Shawshank Redemption, Blade Runner, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, Harry Potter, so many Star Wars posters that you couldn't even name them all, and most of the novel covers for the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Talk about a career. Talk about a life. it was so heartwarming seeing all of the different artists, especially ones that we've gotten to interact with through Rebel ScumCon and through these other interviews that we have, just talk about his life and his career. Tom Hodges had a beautiful tribute to him. But to quote the people that probably knew him closer than us or the people that we know, Steven Spielberg said, "Drew made event art. His posters made many of our movies into destinations, and the memory of those movies and the age we were when we saw them always comes flashing back just by glancing at his iconic photorealistic imagery. In his own invented style, nobody drew like Drew." To quote George Lucas, he said, "Drew was an artist of the highest order. His illustrations fully captured the excitement, tone, and spirit of each of my films his artwork represented. His creativity through a single illustrated image opened up a world full of life in vivid color, even at a glance. I was lucky to have worked with him time and time again." And, I mean, we've said it a bunch, but if you have a second today, go and look at a couple of his posters, just because it'll bring you back to your childhood, no matter what age you are. And it's beautiful. A beautiful art, beautiful life, and apparently a very nice guy as well, which, is also important. Matt, anything to add?
When you get tributes like that from Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, you were an artist at the top of your craft.
Yeah.
And I had multiple conversations with friends in the last couple weeks since Drew's passing, or last week since Drew's passing, and nobody really knew who he was, which broke my heart until I said, well, I mean, he drew this poster and this poster, and they were like, it was the same guy? And I was like, yeah. And because one of the conversations that I had with a friend was like, oh, so he was a graphic artist. I was like, no. That's what's cool. This was not a man that was versed in Photoshop. This was a man that painted those posters. And I'm not trying to diss on anybody that
they would
exclusively...
often be larger, too.
They'd be huge. Yeah. Yes, like massive, because it would be for the premiere, and then they would recreate them for, all the movie theaters, and then, the VHS cover or the DVD cover, depending on how old you are. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to slag on anybody that is well-versed in Photoshop. There's a lot of artistry that goes into that, but it is on a whole other level to create it with oil and a brush and a canvas. That's just a whole other level of artistry that I don't want to go away. So if you are an artist, keep going.
Yeah.
Right? Just keep going. We need more Drew Struzans. I don't know what we're going to have. We never will have one to that degree, but just don't stop. I would like to see more real art in the world.
Do you have a favorite Drew Struzan poster that you can think of?
Honestly, well, I mean, it would probably be one of the Star Wars ones, because his poster for the Star Wars A New Hope Special Edition is gorgeous. I used to have it. I used to have all of his posters for the special editions, and I think they got thrown away by my parents. Boo! But because I think I moved to college and it was in a shelf somewhere, and so they tossed it not knowing what it was. But the one in Star Wars particular, I used to have in a big gold frame, and I don't know where it is. I think it got lost in a move. If I find it, I'll get it. But that one for A New Hope for the special edition is absolutely gorgeous, and I'll have it beneath us right now, the image. But non-Star Wars, Hook. Also one of the most underrated movies of all time. Get mad if you disagree.
Mm-hmm. Mine was also Hook, I was going to say, if it was not a Star Wars. But because he just captures the, bright light that is Robin Williams. And to say that it's not a photo is insane, because it's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's so, swashbuckly and beautiful and, it's great. He's a great artist. Star Wars one, he did the Ewok adventure. No, I'm good. He did do the Ewok adventure.
Hey, it's a good poster.
It's a great poster.
But
yeah, no. All of his work. He has Hellboy posters. If he touched every media. It's crazy. But
He was the guy. He had the market cornered on beautiful movie posters.
Goonies.
But
yeah.
everything. If there was a movie poster that you saw either on the VHS cover, like I was saying, which is probably how most people interacted with his art, let's face it, or in the movie theater in the late 70s through 90s and into the 2000s, it is very, very likely that it was painted by Drew Struzan.
Yep.
So, rest in peace. What a legacy. And speaking of Kathleen Kennedy, the biggest thing that I get out of this next story is that she is not the all-controlling Star Wars villain that people make her out to be, because we found out literally yesterday that Adam Driver had involved Steven Soderbergh in a Ben Solo movie that Disney passed on. So it was going to be called The Hunt for Ben Solo. It was going to follow him after The Rise of Skywalker. I'm going to read the full quote super quick, or a lot of the quote. This article came out from Deadline and then went everywhere. But the first thing he said that blew my mind was, I was always interested in doing another Star Wars. I had been talking about doing another one since 2021. Kathleen Kennedy had reached out. I always said, with a great director and a great story, I'd be there in a second. I loved that character and loved playing him. He goes on, they talked about how the character arc that got him to sign on to the sequels was that it was the reverse of Darth Vader. He said that other places, right, where Vader starts his most evil and his most certain and then gets kind of chopped away at until he's his most vulnerable by the Return of the Jedi. He wanted to do the opposite. Start him at his most vulnerable. He hasn't really decided and committed to evil, and then make him more evil over the course of the story. Probably leave room open for redemption because it's Star Wars. But as for this movie specifically, that was going to be called The Hunt for Ben Solo, we presented the script to Lucasfilm. They loved it. They totally understood our angle and why we were doing it. We took it to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, Disney execs, and they said no. Quote, they didn't see how Ben Solo was alive, and that was that. Driver went on to say, it is no more, so I can finally talk about it. And Steven Soderbergh also said, I really enjoyed making the movie in my head. I'm just sorry the fans won't get to see it. Yeah. So, Zach, what's your takeaways from this dog shit news?
Well, one, the title makes me think of the Hunt for Spock. Which would have been a cool nod to Trek in the Wars.
The Search for Spock.
Search for Spock, sorry.
But the Hunt for Gollum.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah, it's a good name. Great name. I do kind of get where Bob Iger and Alan Bergman are coming from when they're like, oh, but he became one with the Force. You know, he vanished at the end there. So I understand why they're like, oh, I don't get it, but if the movie's good enough, and Lucasfilm was all like, "Hey, let's do it," I'm saying, give it to me. I'm ready for it. Especially Soderbergh's such a great filmmaker. If you don't know who he is, he's done all of the Ocean's 11, 12, and 13 movies. What else? Logan Lucky is fantastic, working with Adam Driver there. Aaron Brockovich back in the early 2000s. Great filmmaker. So to see somebody that has that film career do a Star Wars, I would love to see. Although I don't think an Ocean's 11 style hunt for Ben Solo would work, but
yeah. But Steven Soderbergh also made Magic Mike, and while people like to dismiss that as a fun movie about male strippers for people to ogle attractive men, that's not what that movie's about. That movie is about excess and sin and how all their lives are terrible and they all need to choose better so they're can get out of their drug and alcohol addictions. Not to get serious, but that's most of the movies that Soderbergh makes. So that if you could get an art house film director to be interested in making a Star Wars movie that he's saying is awesome, sorry, it's your turn.
No, just make that movie, why not? Especially with how I would assume it would have been very hard to pin down Adam Driver for another Star Wars movie, and just have him be like, "Hey, I want to do another one, and I have an idea." Why not make that movie? Because he was universally loved in that sequel trilogy, And if he has an idea for the character and if he feels like he has unfinished business with the character, let him finish that business, But
Yeah. I mean,
no, go ahead.
Okay. I didn't want to talk over you, man. I'm sorry. But, yeah, I mean, he is universally thought of when you talk to people about their favorite parts of the sequel trilogy, pretty much everybody says Ben Solo.
Yeah.
It is rare that you get people that don't like him. There were people that bumped up against him in Force Awakens, but that was because of dashed expectations. You see the big scary mask, and then you find out it's like kind of a mildly handsome-looking dorky dude with like voluptuous hair, and it's like, what is this, right? But that was just dashed expectations. And also, let's face it, he's the only character that Rian Johnson deconstructed in a way, in my opinion, that it's still built off of what Force Awakens did. Yeah. A lot of other, Last Jedi is a brilliant film. It does things I don't like, but it is brilliant. Pretty much every other character he just kind of took in a wildly different direction. He took Ben Solo in a different direction that deepened the character for me and for most people.
Yeah.
He's my favorite character that Disney has created, and I've been saying for
boy in a mask.
Yeah, that definitely does change it.
Yeah.
But you get insight into him in a way that you don't get insight into the other characters. You just don't in Last Jedi.
It's great.
That's really what it is that it is deconstructive, but it's deconstructive in that you get a deeper look into him. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing that I've been saying for years about the sequel trilogy is that I've thought that eventually their biggest legacy would be, how the hell did they get Adam Driver to be in Star Wars movies? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And I thought that out of all of them, he'd be the most uninterested in coming back. Mm-hmm. To hear him say that I want to come back, it's worth mentioning. This could all be a Ryan Reynolds releasing the Deadpool footage type of ploy, but the one thing I didn't talk about from the article is that he basically spelled out what the movie was. Mm-hmm. That it was going to be a whole journey ending in Ben's redemption once again. So I don't think you say that if you're trying to sell a movie. That means it's dead and buried and not happening. But as for Bob Iger and Alan Bergman saying, we don't get how he could be alive, I don't get how they could think that. Like, I don't at all. Darth Maul got cut in half. Anakin Skywalker got burned to a crisp and all of his limbs cut off. There's so many other examples of that. It's a movie about space wizards, guys. You can do anything you want.
If you're bringing in this super art house guy, they could be journeying into the Force to find him, like into the nether realm of the Force or wherever. Like,
yes.
Give me that cool exploration movie.
Yes. Dive into the philosophy of the Force in a way that Rise of Skywalker could have and did not.
Yeah.
Right? Not trying to knock it, but I'm just saying, if you're going to have a character that is chasing immortality, Palpatine, you should have it. There should be a deeper resolution than melting his face off.
Yeah.
Make him see that all the people that he killed are still alive in some form or fashion. All the Jedi are still there as ghosts and can still interact with the physical world. He's the only one that never will, no matter how hard he tries. Dive into that through the character of Ben Solo. Anyway, like I said at the start of this segment, my biggest takeaway is, in my opinion, it is a bad day for all of you mouth breathers that think that Kathy Kennedy is the mustache-twirling villain that single-handedly makes all bad Star Wars decisions. She wanted to make this movie. She was trying to make this movie. And if Disney shot this down, what else did they shoot down that Lucasfilm has been trying to make happen?
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if you come out of this still believing that, exactly, if you come out of this still believing that she's the problem, you're an idiot. How about that? I said it before, and I'm saying it again now. So anyway, you got any? I'm hyped now. But you got anything else to say about this?
Oh, just we love our checks from Disney, so thank you so much. It's been great partnering with you with our following, and we look forward to. I say make the movie. That's what I say.
Yeah. You still could absolutely make the movie even after Adam Driver saying this, but I don't. I think for him to be this candid, it's not happening, which is crazy to me.
Yeah,
it's crazy. The only other thing that I will say, I don't know that they were thinking this deep about it, but I could... To peel back the curtain, Zach and I are working on a fan fiction pitch for Star Wars Episode 10 for like our version of whatever that would be. You'll see it eventually. But one of the things that I said to Zach is whether or not we think it did, to build a sequel, in my opinion, you have to kind of play it like every story beat that happened in the movie that came before worked completely, right? You can't redo an arc that has already happened because it happened. Build off of that. Do something new. And I could see them going, he's already sacrificed himself. Why does he need to sacrifice himself again? I could see that, but if Dave Filoni, who love his writing or hate his writing, he's one of the most philosophical writers that we have in genre right now, for him to see a way that that story could still be told, the story can absolutely still be told. Yeah. So, anyway. But all right.
All on Mortis.
Can you imagine?
Ooh, what if he took the place of the son? That would be cool. Or the father. Or any of them.
Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Yes!
Now I'm even more hyped for that movie that isn't happening.
That will never take place. Yeah. But speaking of things that will never take place, you know who is done and quote-unquote, of course I've moved on from Star Wars?
George Lucas.
George Lucas, dog. So, in an interview with the Wall Street Journal promoting the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art, Lucas announced that there will be a Star Wars section of the Museum of Narrative Art. Quote, it's one gallery out of 33, and I did it grudgingly. I didn't want people to come to the museum and say, where's the Star Wars? The Wall Street Journal then asked Lucas if he has let go of his instinct to manage Star Wars 13 years after selling it, which of course he has. But George said, Disney took it over and gave it their vision. That's what happens. Of course I've moved past it. I mean, I've got a life. I'm building a museum. A museum is harder than making movies. Yeah. Zach, what's your first take on that?
I'm glad there's going to be Star Wars in it, because I do think that if you didn't, it's one, just I know it's art to not his stuff, but to have a George Lucas museum and the name Lucas on it, you got to have some Star Wars in there. I'm excited that it's only one gallery. I want to see what the other 32 galleries are. We will hopefully be there in a couple of years. But it is exciting to see that there will just be a little bit, and I'm sure it's going to be awesome, because I'm sure it's going to be stuff that we've never seen. To be like, I got to have stuff in there, it's going to be new stuff, Yeah. Besides the N1 Starfighter, that'll probably be in the lobby or something like that. As far as moving on, yeah, it's been 13 years. I get it. Like, he also, yes, you guys, he made Star Wars for a long time, but he's a filmmaker. He talked about when he sold it, he's like, I want to go make art house movies that nobody will ever see. Like, he's a creative. So, yeah, I get it. He's like, yeah, that was my thing. I did it. I'm happy it's there. I made a bunch of money. I'm going to do my own stuff,
Well, and he, at some point leading up to Force Awakens, he was asked about it, and he equated it to a divorce. He was like, which he has been through. He's like, when you break up with someone, when you get divorced with someone, you don't drive by their house, see how they're doing, you don't give them a call, you just kind of move on.
He's on set all the time
sometimes. Sure.
Yeah, bring him in.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. But what he's saying is, like, you don't involve yourself in them at all. You just move on completely. Now, yeah, he's, but then when one of his buddies is making a movie, he'll come hang out and mess with him.
Yeah.
Filoni had a great quote that came out kind of recently about the day that George came to set, was when they were shooting the first Ahsoka episode. Mm-hmm. I think that was the first time he came to the set of The Mandalorian. And everybody was just like staring at George, and there's work that needed to be done. And George kind of looked at Filoni and was like, these setups are taking too long. You should be getting more shots done. And Filoni was like, yeah, I wonder why the crew isn't working very hard today. They're probably talking to you.
I love the director and him being like, why is this taking so long? Let's go. Faster, more intense. Come on.
Well, exactly. And talking to his apprentice going, hey, you're taking too long. Let's go. Move it up. He's like, you're why I'm taking too long. Anyway, good stuff. But I have seen that quote. Of course, I've moved on. I've got a life. Gotten clickbaited to death. Also, again, worth mentioning, I have seen every time George Lucas comes up in Star Wars conversations, and take this to the bank, the comments are full of people saying that he got done wrong and that he should still be around and he's brilliant and perfect and can do no wrong and yada, yada, yada. And all that I ever think about, it makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills, is that a documentary called The People versus George Lucas came out after the prequels. And ain't nobody that thought he was infallible in 99, 02, and 05. Yeah. So it just, the recency bias of fandom is hilarious, and I'm never going to stop laughing at it. So, or talking about it. But, you know, I'm not saying he's perfect. I think he's a human being, and I think he makes art, and I think that there's stuff in the prequels that it's like, my man, what were you doing?
Yeah.
But, anyway, you know, George, thank you for everything you have done and will continue to do. Oh, real quick, because I saw this go everywhere a lot. I know, lots of tangents. But, oh, goodness. I lost my Oh, so, because I saw this a lot of places of, like, he should put respect on Star Wars. Where would he be without Star Wars? Zach, do you think George Lucas's only legacy is Star Wars?
I think it's his greatest legacy. I don't think it's his only legacy. I honestly think I don't even know if it's his greatest legacy. I think his greatest legacy might be ILM. When you look at, like, and, like, Skywalker Sound and, like, all of the technology that he built. Yes, Star Wars is the mega, you know, franchise, but if you look at, like, ILM is on everything. I mean, Tom Hodges' Count with Ralph McQuarrie, just all the different movies that they were working on at one time on one day, like the amount of just work that studio does and Lucasfilm in general, I think that's really the legacy. Besides, like, you know, I mean, he has other great movies as well, you know, THX, not...
THX 1138.
Yep, 1138.
American Graffiti.
Yep. Red Wings.
Red Tails.
Red Tails, sorry.
Indiana Jones was almost exclusively his ideas.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's a prolific person, you know, but he will always be synonymous with Star Wars. It is the thing that he created that changed film forever, but he has so much legacy besides it, in spite of it.
I mean, now, so also digital filmmaking, George Lucas. Nonlinear editing, George Lucas. Pixar, George Lucas. Film merchandising, George Lucas. Now, DreamWorks, those technological breakthroughs, were they in many ways funded by the success of Star Wars? Yes. But he was always someone that was pushing narrative art forward. That was his chief goal from moment one. Star Wars that movie was going to come out, and he made ILM for that movie, and I do believe that it would have gone on, even if some of the last-minute edits in Star Wars hadn't taken place and the movie hadn't quite been the runaway smash that it was. ILM would have still existed.
Yeah.
So, anyway. But, yeah, okay. So moving on to the next story, and as we have talked enough about things that won't happen, something we haven't moved on from because we don't have lives. Zach, take it.
Yeah, I actually got to see this interview live, as I said, sleepily eating some bacon. Jeremy Allen White is confirmed to be Jabba the Hutt's son on Good Morning America, promoting his Bruce Springsteen performance in Deliver Me From Nowhere. Robin Roberts and Michael Strahan asked Jeremy about The Mandalorian and Grogu. Just because we're not going to play the whole interview. Another very fun one, because I know Matt's a big Bruce Springsteen fan. I don't know if you watched the whole interview, but Bruce was on set for for a lot of that movie, and he's like, "Yeah, I was really nervous at first."
Yeah,
playing. Like, am I doing a good job playing this guy who's watching me play this guy?
Yeah.
But we have a clip, and we will throw it over to the Good Morning America.
Can we ask you about another upcoming movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu? Your voice, the son of Jabba the Hutt. Oh, what was it like to find out that you'd become a part of the
Rotta.
Star Wars universe?
It was exciting. You know, it's funny. I met Jon Favreau, who directed the film and the series, you know, prior. And I've been such a huge fan of Jon's for a very long time, and so we started talking about movies, and I was asking him about Swingers, and and he said, you know, would you like to come in and maybe talk to me about doing just a voiceover deal for Star Wars? I said, I love Star Wars. I'd be so happy to. And I came in, and then I discovered, kind of in the moment almost, the weight of the kind of character I was voicing. But it's been a fun process. I came in to do the voice. They hadn't filmed the movie yet. Then they made the movie. I came and did more. I'll probably have to do a little bit more. I spoke to Pedro the other day, and I think he was doing some more work in the booth and seeing some more of the film. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited to take my kids to see that one. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna love that, man.
So there we go. Again, it bears mentioning. This is the first time that it has been confirmed by anyone involved with Lucasfilm and Disney that he is playing Rotta the Hutt.
Yeah.
It was a rumor that went everywhere, but it was just a rumor, kids. I actually do have another clip that I pulled from the most underrated variety show that exists, the Graham Norton Show. Mm-hmm. And it's Jeremy Allen White sitting next to Bruce Springsteen and talking once again about the Mandalorian and Grogu. Here we go.
Jeremy, you know about big movie franchises because you're joining the Star Wars world, aren't you?
Oh my gosh. Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, is this correct? You are playing Rotta the Hutt.
That's correct. Rotta, yes.
Yeah. And is Rotta any relation to Jabba the Hutt?
That's correct. Yes.
Oh.
That's Dad. Yeah.
I'm hoping the apple fell quite far from the tree.
You know, it's interesting. I can't say too much about it, but no, I look very much like that in the film. I just do voice work in the film. I'm not, putting
So
on
you
any.
won't need a funnel.
No funnel necessary. No.
funnel.
We have our funnels. He's just a bit
idea.
broader, but still like a Hutt. Yes, it's kind of like him and the Mandalorian running around for a lot of the movie together.
So Rotta can run.
Rotta can move, yeah, quickly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there, I'm going to throw it to you, so I'll shut up. But my big takeaway there is
A lot of the movie.
that running around together for a lot of the movie, which it's something we talked about in our trailer breakdown. I think it was you submitted the idea. What if they're not enemies in the gladiator pit? What if they're like boys? What if they're allies? And while they're fighting, Din's going, I'm here to recruit you. Stop it.
Yeah.
And I joked, yeah, what if they are on a team? And that's why Favreau brought back the Razor Crests so you could fit a Hutt in there.
Yeah.
That might be the case, dog. Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen that he's jacked. You can even kind of when he does the like, you can kind of see like some abs, on it's like some side abbage, which I think is fun. Especially with Jeremy Allen White's film career, it's kind of a little nod to Iron Claw, where he played a professional wrestler. But yeah, I'm excited. He also, between the two interview clips, we know that it's mainly voiceover. He's had to go back and do some more voiceover recently, so we know that the film isn't fully set and locked yet. But I'm excited about it. I think Jeremy Allen White is one of the closest, one of the greatest new actors on the scene. Not new, but newish. I would love to see him do a Young Frankenstein if we're talking about that, because he does look a lot like the late and great. What is the name of the actor? Willy Wonka and Frankenstein.
Oh, Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
Just have him
Good
redo
call.
all of Gene Wilder's movies. I would love it. Not love that it's
Cool.
being redone, but I would, or put him in a biopic for Gene Wilder. If he's on that biopic thing.
That's a good call.
But no, I'm excited about it. I think it's great. I am more hyped for this movie knowing that he's a bigger part of it, because have Stinky run around, and if he doesn't call him Stinky, Dave Filoni was not involved. Dave Filoni was not involved in that movie if there's not one stinky reference.
Yeah, I
call him Stinky.
We'll do that in our prediction bingo shortly before the film comes out. I mean, I'm excited because outside of Jabba, and even with Jabba, we've never had a Hutt on screen that was like a leading character or a secondary lead.
Yeah.
And for him to say most of the movie is the Mandalorian and Rotta running around, I am fascinated by what on earth that could possibly be.
Yeah.
So just color me hyped. Even more so than I was before for the Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm just so ready for that movie to be just a good popcorn in my face time.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? But all right. So speaking of Cavan Scott, earlier I listened to a Cavan Scott Star Wars story in the last couple weeks. The Jaws of Jakku. It's an Audible original. Just like Padawan's Pride earlier this year, which was an Anakin and Obi-Wan story between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones early in Anakin's apprenticeship to Obi-Wan. This is a much more middle grade story than that. The narrator kind of constantly breaks the fourth wall to a degree where at times it kind of felt like I was listening to Dora the Explorer. Before I get into the rest of it, I do recommend this story, especially for like younger Star Wars fans, because I did have a good time with it. It's a cute, simple, easy story set almost entirely on Jakku. It follows Rey, Finn, and BB-8 as they return to Jakku to race the First Order to a hidden weapon in one of the many, many crashed ships, which was just a great idea for a story. The whole thing is narrated by a young Jakku scavenger named Lisa to Naldry Zuvio, the son of Constable Zuvio.
Oh, fun.
Which was the first action figure released for The Force Awakens and then famously cut from the movie.
Yeah.
And the best scene...
He was in a trailer at one point, too, I'm pretty sure.
He was in some promo art. I think it's his face that's like the art on the back of the packaging for all of the action figures for Force Awakens. But he was never... He might have been in a trailer. That's not. He would have been in like the background.
I think it was just a shot of his eyes and like zooming in behind with the like little archway behind him is what I remember.
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below if that exists. Not trying to doubt you. I'm doubting myself because I know that's the image on the action figure thing of just his face. But okay, the best scene though is, in my opinion, my favorite scene was a short moment of Leia training Rey, which is something I want more of. But I do want to give a shout out to Cavan Scott. I've read and listened to a lot of his Star Wars writing. The best thing about it is always wildly unique and so creative. Every single one of his stories has a take that makes it very distinct. Whereas like Charles Soule is the Star Wars writer that for me gets like the tone and philosophy of Star Wars in the way that I like the most. Cavan Scott is the one that is just there's just some wild creative ideas in everything that he does. That builds off of everything that has come before, whether or not he even likes the idea or not. I think he's just like, cool, it's an idea, I'm going to use it. You know, it's like his concept for the Nightlander, like it came from a mistake.
Yeah.
So cool. But speaking of Leia training Rey, we're moving into news from New York Comic Con. We finally are getting a story telling a little bit of Rey's apprenticeship under Leia Organa. Star Wars Legacy is set to come out next year, I believe in summer was what I saw somewhere, but I didn't put it in the show notes. Maybe that's not the case. But according to StarWars.com, Star Wars Legacy, written by Madeline Rue, the book will explore Rey and Leia's relationship in the months between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. They join forces to repair the broken Skywalker lightsaber. On their quest following the Battle of Crate, Rey and Leia will make their way to the planet Tython. And to quote Madeline Rue, the author, "Every time something from the Old Republic gets referenced, I light up like a Christmas tree. We needed a planet that had a deep Jedi history. Tython, of course, also appears on The Mandalorian. It's where Grogu sits on the Seeing Stone and has his little force trip and then gets captured by Dark Troopers. Same episode where Boba Fett shows up and gets his armor back. Yeah. Quick shout out for Madeline Rue. She wrote the short story From a Certain Point of View, A New Hope, Eclipse, which is the last moments of Bail and Bria Organa.
Oh, yeah.
It is a gut-wrenching story. It's gorgeous. I'm going to spoil it real quick if you haven't read it, but it's Bail returning to Alderaan saying like Leia got captured, the mission has failed, we have to basically disavow any knowledge of any of that, and we have to pretend that like she was never a part of this and we had no ties to her. And as they're having that conversation, the Death Star appears in orbit. Ugh. But she gets Star Wars, and she gets the emotions of Star Wars, and I'm hyped for this. You got anything to say about that?
No, I'm excited that we're getting a little bit more nuggets of that training. Also of repairing a kyber crystal, so that'll be kind of fun to see how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
We also got our first romance novel announced by Ashley Pottston. Eyes Like Stars, set about a year and a half before the Star Wars The Force Awakens, features all new characters and a mysterious artifact, and the fearsome First Order. That also comes out in summer 2026. I would argue that we already have a first romance novel with Lost Stars, but, you know, that's okay. Maybe this one's even more romantic. Either way, sounds fun and exciting, especially just to have different genres in the Star Wars. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I've ever read anything that exclusively designated itself as a romance novel, so this is a little outside my depth here. But I don't know. Maybe there are, I guess, more tropes they're going to lean into, or more genre-specific things for the romance.
Money-wise, it's very smart, because a romance novel reader will read about 4 times more books than the average reader, so maybe they're just trying to dip into that money market.
How do you know those stats?
I had a friend whose parent was a romance novel writer, so
sick.
Yeah,
that's cool. Right on. Yeah. I had a friend in high school that was it made me laugh because I was like, there are normal people and then there are people that look like this. Shout out Tony Adams. He literally was like the cover model for like a bunch of romance novels, and I was just like, you know,
Fabio.
Andy's like a nice guy, so like, dick. Shout out Tony Adams. I know you're not listening, but Lance remembers him. They played soccer together. But anyway, 2 other things to talk about from New York Comic Con. We got another manga coming from Star Wars Visions. This one is called Tsukumo. If I got it wrong, I'm so sorry. From the all-star creators of the latest Ultraman manga, and then the quick blurb about the plot. In the wake of Order 66, a lone Jedi Knight accompanies a pair of droids to a rumored droids' paradise while being pursued by the Empire, and this also comes out summer 2026, specifically July 14th as of right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just excited about that quick blurb about the plot, like a droids' paradise. That sounds cool.
Yeah. Also, a Jedi wearing Clone Wars, like a trooper helmet. That's cool.
Yeah, like what's that about? But you know, and the best thing about it is it's Visions. So Canon, piss off. You don't matter right here. Love me some continuity, but Visions just gets to play, and that's just one of the best things about it.
Yeah. And the biggest news to come out of New York Comic Con, there's going to be a Jar Jar one-shot by Mark Guggenheim and Ahmed Best. If you don't know who Ahmed Best is, he's Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks Returns, co-written by Jar Jar himself, Ahmed Best. Jar Jar faces the consequences of giving emergency powers to Chancellor Palpatine. What pivotal role does Jar Jar play in the formation of the Rebel Alliance? Guest starring a fan-favorite Jedi, Kelleran Beck. So it's Ahmed Best and Ahmed Best, written by Ahmed Best, in a book about Ahmed Best. And you know what? It's going to be the best. That's my prediction. Yeah, super exciting. Is Jar Jar going to be redeemed? Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, this is just wholesome, wonderful news. I'm going to bring this up every time Ahmed Best gets brought up, but just what an absolute, just luminous being. Mm-hmm. What an incredibly bright light. I really hope he's at Rebel ScumCon Volume 3. The clips that you see of his panels from every con, Rebel ScumCon 1 and Star Wars Celebration, he's just so positive and he's so intelligent and he's so insightful and he's so wonderful. And it really makes you mad at all the people in 1999 that really, really, really put him in a dark place with the way they reacted to Jar Jar. And you can look into what he went through and what he almost did. And his redemption, in the eyes of Star Wars fans, makes me upset at Star Wars fans, but also makes me proud of the way that he's elevated and accepted and celebrated now.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about this story. Big takeaway, or not mild takeaway, actually. Normally, I would say when there's a Star Wars movie coming out, and then all of a sudden a character is featured in publishing, I'm like, cool, they're probably not in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I don't know that we're going to get the Keller and Beck Grogu story in Mando and Grogu. But based on the timeline, and that this story appears to be set after Attack of the Clones, Mando and Grogu is so much later, it's possible. It's possible. That's all I'm going to say.
Not probable, but possible.
Yeah. I don't know that there would be room for Jar Jar to show up. I think that's going to be an episode of The Mandalorian of Jar Jar saving Grogu or something.
Not Jar Jar.
Trying to save Grogu. Well, but I think because Keller
and Beck?
Keller and Beck saves Grogu and puts him on a Naboo ship. If they're going on a Naboo ship, they're going to Naboo, probably to meet up with Jar Jar.
Maybe.
That's what I thought they were doing.
My biggest takeaway is that they are retconning something with Jar Jar. Where he appears as a street urchin, like asking for money.
Now, I don't think so, because that's in Aftermath, and that's way after. That's post original trilogy, much less prequels. So I don't know that they're necessarily going to retcon that. I think I wanted to say real quick, because you talked about it with Tom Hodges. I like that story.
Really?
Because what he talks about, what Jar Jar says so if you don't know what we're talking about, there's a short story in the first Aftermath novel, I think. It's either the first or second one, where there's this kid walking around the streets of Naboo, and he encounters this street performer, this poor street performer clown, basically, Jar Jar Binks. Mm-hmm. And Jar Jar just kind of remarks about how, everybody got mad at me after the Empire rose to power because they all kind of blamed me for it. And that he lost everybody stopped being nice to him, and he lost everything. Mm-hmm. I think that is a reflection on the way Star Wars fans treated Ahmed Best and reacted to Jar Jar, and still do. And I like that story because he makes it tragic. Mm-hmm. I don't want any character in fiction to end up that way, but I think that is a sad and beautiful story. Mm. So that's my take. But this could be him.
The Rebel Alliance.
But I'm saying I think that just ties into the tragedy of it more. If he made the Empire, and if he's the one that sets up the first meeting between Bail and Padme and Mon Mothma. Yeah. How great would that be? Mm-hmm. So that then he kind of made both. That's my prediction. I was about to call him Jar Jar. Is that Ahmed Best is going to give Jar Jar a win?
Yeah. Which he deserves one.
Absolutely, he does.
Yeah.
So, okay. Speaking of big Star Wars wins,
Star Wars Visions. We have our Matt has watched finally. A couple years behind Star Wars Visions Season 1 and 2, and we're going to give our top 5 episodes. And he said that he has some spicy takes, so we're gonna have some fun with this one. I got my top 5. He's got his top 5. We're gonna kind of go through it a little on the quicker side, but because we are nearing an hour-long episode. Oh no!
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt, do you want to start with your number 5, or do you want to preface? Actually, can you just give your preface of what you think of Visions now that you've seen 1 and 2?
So the reason that it took me so long to watch it is that I watched the first 3 episodes sometime around when it came out, and I just didn't vibe with it at the time. I think I was a little soured on what Star Wars was doing, and I was being very Sithy. I wasn't getting what I wanted out of Star Wars stories, so therefore I was mad at them, which is very childish and stupid and foolish and dark-sidey of me. But I just didn't really vibe with Visions doing its own thing and not adding to canon, which is silly because I watched it and came in with my door open for whatever it was going to be, and there were some of them that I didn't like, but I had a really good time with a lot of them, and one of my ones on this list was not something I thought I was going to like, and I loved it. And my spicy takes are spicy takes by omission of this top 5, and I think it's going to make people mad. It's just my opinions, guys.
Yeah.
So, but overall, what's your take on Visions before we get into our specific top 5?
I love Visions. I was an anime kid in high school and still am a little bit of an anime kid. I, at one point, watched 6 seasons of Bleach in 2 months before my freshman year of high school. So I love me some manga, some anime. I love that Visions isn't shackled by Canon because we've gotten some really cool stuff from Visions, and I'm so excited for season 3 and for sequels to this. Like, to have 2 episodes that are sequels to episodes, I think is really, really cool. It also just reminds me of like the days in the 90s when you'd be like, oh yeah, there's this like Legends book that this guy named Thrawn appears. You're like, oh, that's not canon, whatever. Sounds cool, but I don't care. And so like, at least that was me in middle school. But yeah, no, I love it. I love that it gets to be whatever it wants, because it's like watching somebody take the thing that you love and be like, hey, what if we did this completely different thing with it, and go from there. And you're like, oh, cool, I would have never thought of that. Oh, and you can, because you don't have to worry about this other thing that happened in this book that came out 5 years ago that makes that not canon.
It's true, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I mean, all the same
did.
stuff. Yep. But, and I want to mention, we're not just getting sequel episodes next, so we're getting a sequel episode to The Ninth Jedi, and I think The Duel is the other one that's getting a sequel. Yeah. And then, we're getting a whole Ninth Jedi series next year, don't forget.
Woo.
Which, I'm excited about that. I'm excited that's going to get expanded. But, okay, so, top 5 Visions episodes from Volumes 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. My number 5, The Spy Dancer.
Ooh, remind me of this one.
So this is the one at the premier dancer at an Imperial-sponsored ballet's secret identity is compromised. This is very, very, I say ballet, it's cabaret. It's basically the Moulin Rouge. It is very, very, very French Revolution, French resistance in like World War II coded, and I loved it. I loved it so much more than I thought I would, but I found it to be very emotional and very stylized in a really cool way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's my number 5.
My number 5 is going to make people mad because I know people don't like this episode, but I think it's so fun. Tatooine Rhapsody, which is about the singer Jedi and the band going
You are okay!
Yeah, got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, J.G. Drab.
That's Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So I love that episode. It's just silly and fun, and one that I'm like, oh, this is silly, and I like it. I like it a lot.
It's a silly good time. Yeah.
That's my number 5. What's your number 4?
Okay. The Village Bride.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah, I was really surprised how much I liked it. Jedi on the Run studies the unique customs of a remote village, and it's basically what it is. I loved it. I loved that it was contemplative, philosophical, and like huge, but in a very grounded way. Yeah. Action doesn't happen till like the last 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. I really, really liked that one a lot. Yeah. And it could totally work in canon. Yeah. This is like its own thing off somewhere. Mm-hmm. Right? Probably like High Republic-ish or something.
Yeah, a lot of these could actually work in canon if you just wanted them to. Which is also a fun part. Yeah. My number 4 is The Duel, which is the first episode of season 1. Just the idea of a rogue Sith wandering around, saving this town, but not because he wants to save the town, but because he's trying to kill all the other Sith. That's cool.
Is that what it is, though? Because he hands the kid a kyber crystal at the end, a red kyber crystal, and says, "Take care of this. It wards off evil."
Yeah. Oh, it's like its own like. I guess it's its own canon, so it's not exactly that. But, you get Simu Liu, which I love getting Simu Liu some Star Wars love, and I really like him as an actor. But it also spawned the Star Wars TikTok craze. Your lightsaber is red, So if you haven't seen the episode, you've seen it, probably heard it, little soundbite. But it's a fun episode. Cool style, too. And umbrella lightsaber. Who doesn't love an umbrella lightsaber?
So fun. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the ones that is the most like, okay, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. Kurosawa obviously influenced Star Wars, so now we're going to give some love to Kurosawa. It is very much the black and white style of his films.
Yeah.
Beautiful to look at. So, Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Your number 4.
3.
Oh, 3. Sorry.
This will be the one that people are like, what? Au's song.
Oh,
This is the
last
force
episode of
sensitive,
season
like,
2?
there's like the teddy bear planet, basically, or like teddy tiger planet. A young force sensitive girl is called, she just dreams of singing. And her song cures this planet of kyber crystals and purifies all of them. It started and I was like, all right, this is cute. This is fine. And then as it kept going, I was like, wait, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is actually really, really cool. On top of being really heartwarming and adorable, I'm aware that I'm a music theater guy and I'm a teacher of kids. So if you're going to do a story about a kid singing, warding off evil, it's... Even then, I was definitely, when I saw that description and it started, I was like, this is not for me. This is fine. This is for the kids, and this is fine. But then as it started to go, I was like, nope, this is awesome. This is really cool. So that's my number 3. It surprised me that it made it on my list at all, much less that far up.
Yeah.
But, Zach, you're 3.
My number 3 is the first episode of season 2, which is called Sith, which is a short film. It's the one that's the paint one, if you don't remember, or if it's been a while since you've seen it. A former Sith apprentice leading a peaceful but isolated life is confronted by the past when her old master tracks her down. And she's like, oh, maybe I'll finish the painting. It's just like, it's beautiful. Like, if you're an artist at all, or like appreciate art at all, like, it is just beautifully done. And the paint style and the more that her past shows up, the more solid the like background becomes, and it's just really, really beautifully shot. And I love the idea of a former Sith apprentice who's like, yeah, never mind, I'm good.
Yeah.
Your number 2.
This is gonna be high for a lot of people, but for me, Screecher's Reach.
Oh yeah.
So this is the young, I think they're Scottish, if I remember right, but a young girl drawn by a dark power to a mysterious cave. Whoa! The backgrounds on this were gorgeous.
Yeah.
The whole atmosphere was gorgeous. The characters were a little... this is in a lot of these shorts. The characters are stylized sometimes in a way that I didn't really vibe with, but most of the time the look was incredible.
Usually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I love that they get the freedom to play. But the characters, I didn't really love the look of them, but everything else and the story, I don't want to spoil it, but I loved Screecher's Reach. I thought it was scary and cool and heartbreaking and fun all at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give an honorable mention before my number 1. But yeah, Zach, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is The Elder, which is about the 2 Jedi who go to a planet, and the young Jedi is like, I got it, I'm going to face him, and then he gets, attacked, and then the older wizened Qui-Gon Jinn-esque Hopper from Stranger Things, David Harbour, that's the actor, he's the voice of it.
Oh, cool!
Yeah. He does the thing that you're not allowed to do, which is deactivate your lightsaber when in mid thing to win, because a lot of people are like, it's a technique even the Sith wouldn't do, but it's cool to see, and again, just a fun, could be anywhere in Star Wars timeline. What is your honorable mention?
This is where I'm going to make people mad. The Ninth Jedi.
Oh, is your honorable? Wow.
Now, hey, if you love it, rad. That's rad. That's awesome. I'm sure it's Zach's number 1. But it might have gotten too hyped for me. Like we said earlier, I saved it from my last one because everybody always kind of says that's the best one. That's the best one. And honestly, I found it to be kind of run of the mill out of all of them. The idea of the lightsaber changing color based on your force affinity is cool. It's really just there so that when all those Jedi turn their lightsabers on, you're like, oh, you're not Jedi.
Yeah.
It changed. I think that just changed. It took away one of my favorite philosophical and mystical elements of Star Wars, that the crystal chooses the Jedi. The crystal doesn't choose the Jedi. They pick up a lightsaber and can use it, no problem. And it changes color based on their force affinity. And I was just like, I don't know. But I didn't think it was very emotional. was my biggest thing. I wasn't really swept up in the story. There were stories that were half the length that I got way more emotionally invested in. So I'm excited to see where it goes because I think they did some unique, interesting things. But yeah, that's my honorable mention. What's your honorable mention before we give our number ones? Or do you not have one?
Honorable mention for me would be Screecher's Reach.
Right on.
Yeah. I thought it really cool. I just didn't really love the ending. I thought it was just, it's just a little too dark for me.
I don't know why it fired me up, but I think I appreciated the, I won't spoil it, because this is something that most people probably haven't checked out, these Visions things. But I just appreciated the balls to go dark with your story. But okay, so our number ones. This is also where I'm going to make people mad because my number one is not the duel. My number one is the Elder.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Zach said, it's a Jedi. And I just loved that it was a murder mystery. Mm-hmm. Not really. It was like what I take to be like High Republic-ish Jedi on a mysterious quest. That it was very, very philosophical. It was my favorite like lightsaber choreography of the whole both volumes so far. Worst part was the Padawan's name, Dan. I was like, what?
Because it reminded you of Garindan.
Yeah, Dan. But no, I think maybe that's a name that sounds mysterious and otherworldly to, I guess like manga studios or whatever, not manga, anime studios or whatever. But to us, it's like, I think I've met like 75 Dans in my life. Like it's a normal name. But I loved The Elder. I would love to see a sequel series of that. I loved it. I think it was my favorite art style. It was my favorite writing. I ate up that short, and I will watch that regularly. I thought it was so cool and so scary while being so simple. It's just two Jedi hunting a mysterious thing that they think might be a Sith, and then it turns out it is.
Yeah.
And just the philosophy of like that it's about growing old. Yeah. The story is about growing old. Like, I'm going to lose my power as I age. You're probably going to get stronger if you stay focused. Mm-hmm. But I'm at my peak now, but it's only going to get worse from here because I'm going to age and die.
Yeah.
I was like, woo! I loved it. But you're number one. Pretty sure we know what it is.
It's The Ninth Jedi.
Yeah, right on.
I think it's so fun. I think it's like, it's pulpy, it's action adventure, you know, like her having to leave her dad behind, and you know, it's following the hero's journey there. I loved the like flip of like, oh, this evil guy is actually the hero, you know, and all these heroes are the villains. The first time I watched it, I was like, no way, you know, because you expect it to go one way and it goes the other. And I loved the idea that they even redeemed one of them, you know, halfway through, which I thought was really cool. And I'm so excited to see what they do with the rest of it, with the sequel series. I think it's really fun. I also love just the idea of this, like, I've been trained as a Jedi, and my lightsaber is clear because I'm not strong enough yet, and I don't know, it'll happen. And just like as she like has to do these emotional and these crazy like things and go out on her own, she finds her lightsaber color, which I think is cool. Yeah,
cool.
If you haven't watched Visions before, go watch it. It's a quick watch. They're each about 15-20 minutes. You can watch it on a Saturday afternoon and probably finish it all.
Or I mean, break it up.
Yeah.
Because they're all the best thing about it is they're all so distinct that they're purely fundamentally their own thing.
Yeah.
This is the best thing about it. Canon, go away. This is about just Star Wars vibes, and in many ways it gets down to the heart of what Star Wars is, because it strips it all down to just the philosophy of it.
Yeah.
But like honestly, another one that I loved, Akakiri.
Is that
so
the one with
cool.
the sister in the water?
No, that's the one with a Jedi. It's very much the Hidden Fortress. Very, very much the Hidden Fortress. It's the Jedi. It's the last episode of Volume 1. The Jedi comes back to save or help out this princess who he's in love with.
Oh, yeah, that one's really cool.
And he's seeing visions of a death. And then, of course, it's him doing the death. The only thing I didn't like about it is the villain is like, if you turn to the dark side, we can bring your love back to life. And I'm like, yeah, it's the Darth Vader story. But then he turns to the dark side, and they bring her back to life. And I'm like, that kind of messes with the philosophy of it for me. Because it's like, well, nah, if you choose evil, you get weaker. You don't get stronger.
Yeah.
Is she back as a zombie? No, she's just back. That's, But, whatever. It's a fantastic story, and it is, there's the two, kind of dopey sidekicks. It's the Hidden Fortress, dude.
Yeah.
Straight up. That's who R2 and 3PO are based on. And so I liked that Star Wars is now tipping the hat back to what inspired it. So, okay. I'm going to tell you right now, Dragon Con's going to happen in its separate thing. I think we're going to do a twofer episode this week. There are going to be 2 episodes that come out this week.
Yeah.
Because we missed a week, so we'll make up for it now. But that'll be its own thing. It might have come out before now. I don't know yet. You'll know by the time you're listening. But, Zach...
Yeah.
Where can the people find you, and let them know how they can get involved with what they just watched or listened to?
Yeah, if you want to give us your thoughts on Visions or any of these stuff, or ask us questions or get involved, email us forceofothersradio@gmail.com. Get into our comments either here on YouTube, on Instagram, where you can find us. Matt does fights on Twitter sometimes. But get involved with us. We want to hear from you. We are the Force of Others. If you watched the past 2 weeks, we've done some great interviews, so please go check those out. Some really, really just heartfelt, awesome interviews. We're going to be clipping those up as well, and getting some more of that out. And we got a bunch coming up. We have the Galaxy of Horror Volume 2. Next week, we are going to do some spooky stories, some original ideas from our brains. And we will also be doing some other classic Halloween movies and how they might fit into Star Wars. So be sure to check that out next week. And go see Matt in a show if you're in the North Texas Granbury Opera House, which is Young Frankenstein, or Frankenstein, depending on how you pronounce it. Besides that, look out for some news from me coming soon. I think I can talk about it maybe next week or the week after. So excited things there. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you're here on YouTube. It really does help. I know it is what everybody says, but it helps the algorithm. And we will see you all real soon. Matt, anything else you want to add?
If you're listening to us on a podcast, do the whole give us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
Like us thing. There's a lot of Star Wars content. There's a lot of just content right now, and the only way to even be visible to new potential friends and listeners and watchers is for people to have rated us well.
Yeah.
So, but and besides, the more people that get in the comments and stuff, the more questions we're gonna have for the show. But that's what we got. Mm-hmm. You want to send them out, or shall I?
You go ahead.
And remember, the force of others will be with you.
Always. The Force.